Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. Unpack Project 9G.
9G is doing a lot of symbolic work.
Right, let's switch gears now to this BFL Declaration of EIB title. The second inaugural Prime Minister of Niger Kingdom. That's quite a mouthful. Seems central to the political side of things.
It is quite formal, isn't it? BFL stands for Babaruka Fatawa Lebowa. That's the name given to Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa in the play's world.
Okay, immortalized in the play.
And EIB, Ilamnumi Ichekulab Belagri, is the play's name for Emmanuel Chik Gabriel, the author and producer of Project 9G.
Got it. So this declaration is basically giving the symbolic title of Sayman's second inaugural Prime Minister of Niger Kingdom to Emmanuel Cheke Gabriel.
Exactly, as a tribute to Sir Balewa's legacy using the framework of the play.
And the document spends some time on Emmanuel Cheke Gabriel's background.
Well, it seems intended to suggest he's somehow suited or perhaps even destined for a leadership role. It mentions his birth year, 1989, points out world leaders from that time, notes his large family, whose names spell Nigeria, links his birth date numerically to 9G and Prime Minister, even mentions his time as a presidential historian intern and staying at Doden Barracks.
So, building a case for his suitability, maybe? Highlighting an early interest in nation building.
That seems to be the implication. And then there are these comparisons to Volodymyr Zelensky.
Ah, yes, the Ukrainian president. Why draw that parallel?
It's used to illustrate the idea of someone from outside traditional politics rising to national leadership. You know, Zelensky, the actor, playing a president on TV and servant of the people.
Right, which resonated hugely.
Exactly, and how that contributed to his actual election. They even find numerical links in the birth dates of Zelensky and his wife, connecting them back to 9G.
So the point is, if an actor can become president,
Then perhaps someone like Emmanuel Chi Gabriel, with his creative background, could also potentially step into a major leadership role. That seems to be the suggestion.
and this symbolic title, SIPMO, and the person holding it, are then connected to the 2023 Nigerian election through some, well, interesting symbolic readings, like ATM v POS. What's that about?
According to the document, a philologist, a language expert, interpreted the 2023 election using those symbols. ATM for Ahmed Tinubu, POS for Peter Obi.
Because of the issues with the machines during the election.
Precisely. The functionality or lack thereof became a big public talking point, so the terms gained this symbolic link to the candidates. The document also mentions other analogies used, like Batman versus Superman and PMB v SIP Melon.
Quite a symbolic framework.
It also points out the equal number of states won by the main parties, APC, PDP, LP, and the EGC-GEC initials and state names as potentially significant, and even connects the reverse spelling of Abubakar to Babaruka and links it to 9G.
That's a dense web of symbolism being presented, and it seems the SEPIMN holder is linked to certain political figures and events too.
Yes, it notes his eldest sibling is an accountant, drawing a line to President Tinubu and the governor of Rivers State, who also have accounting backgrounds. Okay.
It mentions the Project 9G author visiting Cerbalo's tomb before other political figures like Osunbajo and Peter Obi did, and suggests that after President Tinubu's election, appointing the SIPMON holder as prime minister could be a smart move for his administration.
Which leads directly to the call for reinstating the office of prime minister. There's a historical argument presented for this. What's the core idea?
The main point is that Nigeria's first republic had a parliamentary system with a prime minister, while military coups ended that republic.
Right.
The argument, particularly from the philologist quoted, is that the office of prime minister itself was never formally abolished by law or constitution.
So the end of the republic didn't automatically erase the positions within it.
That's the claim. Even switching to a presidential system in 1979, where the president is head of state and government, didn't explicitly rule out having a PM.
And they use examples from other countries. Yes, comparisons to Kenya and Uganda, which have had PMs at different times under different systems, are used to support the idea that it's still a possibility within Nigeria's framework.
Okay, so the argument is the option is still there. And Project 9G proposes a specific way for this role to work if reinstated.
Yes, the proposal is for an appointed prime minister serving as a cabinet minister.
Not elected, like Balewa was.
No, appointed. And the document suggests a term limit, maybe 2 or 3 years, meaning potentially more than 1 PM during a president's term.
And the goals of bringing back this office.
3 main ones: honoring Sir Balewa's legacy, creating a platform for young leaders to develop, and pushing for good governance and more youth participation in politics.
How does Project 9G itself fit into this proposed PM role?
Well, the SIPM title and the potential appointment as PMO and Prime Minister of Nigeria are central. Project 9G, through the Niger Kingdom Institute, is seen as the starting platform for these young leaders.
So the PM would oversee the institute.
Yes, having direct responsibility for guiding the institute and its goals. The expected benefits are fresh leadership ideas, closing the youth leadership gap, and driving development via the institute's work.
This Niger Kingdom Institute really seems like the engine room if a PM gets appointed. What are its main goals and how would it be structured?
Its core purpose is described as cultivating nation builders, promoting Nigerian culture and innovation, and helping Nigeria become a superpower in arts, sports, culture, entertainment.
How would it do that?
Through discipline, leadership, and governance training, mentorship, and collaborations. The full name mentioned is Niroi Gabtek Ejinira,
Which comes from?
a mix of letters from key figures and names in the project, apparently. Structure-wise, they suggest 6 departments, one for each geopolitical zone.
And leadership.
A chairman, the PM, a chancellor, and heads of the PMs, the prime Niger ninjas, plus representatives from government ministries. The focus, it says, is on impact over money.
So the actual appointment of the SIPM on holder into the cabinet as prime minister is a key recommendation. Why? What's the main reason given?
The core rationale boils down to promoting youthful, inclusive leadership as a key strategy to get Nigeria to superpower status.
Is there a legal basis for a potentially young PM?
The document points to the Constitution, saying Nigerians up to 30 who qualify for the House of Reps can be ministers. So it suggests a younger person could legally be PM.
What about conflicts of interest?
It addresses that by saying the PM would report to the president and work with other government bodies, implying no conflict.
And where would this PM sit in the government hierarchy?
In Nigeria's presidential system, Project 9G suggests the PM would be ninth in the order of precedence.
So below the president, VP, Senate President, Speaker, Chief Justice.
Exactly. Clearly not head of state or government, but a senior minister within the cabinet.
The mandate for this PM's office and the institute is massive. What are some key focus areas and specific plans?
Youth empowerment is central. Leadership programs, support for IT and startups, engaging with entertainment and sports, promoting mechanized agriculture, national cleanups, diaspora rights, even some restructuring ideas, diaspora support services, and potentially moving the institute to a new state.
A new state. That links to the innovations part, which includes creating 3 new states. It sounds complex.
It is a significant proposal, yes. Creating 3 new states: sovereign area, scepter area, and symbol of authority.
Really?
The main reason given is to balance the number of states across the 6 geopolitical zones more evenly. It even suggests capitals and prime Niger custodians for them, using the play's terminology.
And maybe locate the institute there.
That's suggested as a possibility, yes. The wider rationale includes better representation, resource management, local economic development, conflict resolution, and strengthening the federal system overall.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the intended impact. What outcomes does Project 9G expect from the PM's office and the institute?
Youth empowerment is key, creating jobs, that World Cup goal again, and promoting corporate social responsibility. It also highlights how the SIPMO and holders' background, spanning different regions, could help address marginalization issues, particularly in the Southeast.
And the institute's impact.
A central place for leadership training, national orientation, getting youth involved in nation building. There are plans for ensuring youth representation, capacity building, using tech and governance.
And the entertainment sector.
Plans for a media outlet, music studio, film village, creating jobs and boosting Nigeria's image.
Sports. Beyond the World Cup.
A national soccer academy, talent spotting, training, international partnerships, all feeding into that World Cup dream.
What about food security and agriculture?
Promoting mechanized agriculture, providing seeds, fertilizer, better storage, fish farming support, food banks, medical clinics, and dedicating the proposed symbol of authority state specifically to agriculture.
And this all connects to the Not Too Young to Run Act.
Yes, it's framed in that context. Empowering youth, inclusive governance, orienting leaders, focusing on nation building, bridging generation gaps, increasing political participation, and again, the idea that the SIPM appointee could help bridge regional and ethnic divides.
It is definitely a very detailed and highly ambitious vision laid out so many aspects of Nigerian society and government. Gives you a lot to think about the potential and the challenges.
Indeed, it lays out a very specific path forward, heavily reliant on youth engagement and this idea of a reimagined prime minister role within the current system.
Well, that was certainly a deep dive into Project 9G. Hopefully, you now have a much clearer picture of its foundations, its goals, and its potential impact.
A lot to process.
Definitely. For our final thought today, maybe consider this. How can any nation best tap into the energy and idealism of its young people to actually drive progress and unity in today's complex world? Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thank you.
We encourage you to keep thinking about these ideas and the potential ripple effects of such a wide-ranging project.
I am the President of Ukraine, and I support Emmanuel Chike Gabriel for Prime Minister of Nigeria.